Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? I hope you are doing great. So today I bring this gist for you guys. This video is all about white don't have culture and some whites said they have culture. Here are these teach of argument.
The appropriation of other cultures and claiming them as your own.
Why is there even a debate for this? There is no white culture in the same way that there's no black culture. The dude in the video goes on to say that German culture and Dutch culture and French culture are not white culture. He's right. There is no white culture because there is nobody from the country white. The German people are from Germany, so they have German culture. The French people are from France. They have French culture. Well, whether you like it or not, if you were born in America and your family history has existed in America, guess which culture you have? American culture. Yeah. Capitalism, fast food, burgers, NASCAR, spending, waste. Yes, that is your culture. And in the same way that you would be allowed to tell me that I can't claim my German heritage as culture, then great. Wherever your origin of country may be from, you can't claim it either. We're just both Americans. And if you want to say something along the lines of, well, wait, what about people who never solely existed to a country? Great, you can call their culture whatever the name of their people is, or wherever the land they come from is called. The truth is, pretty much everybody in history can be traced back to somewhere in Africa. This isn't really surprising for anyone who considers themselves to be educated on the topic in any way at all. So to answer your question, what is white culture? You just got the name mixed up. It's not called white culture, it's called American culture. And I don't really know you, but if you are from America, in the same way that I am, we're both a part of it.
Oh my God, that sounded so American. There is no white culture. There is no black culture. Just because you Americans don't have your own culture doesn't mean the rest of the world hasn't. When you maybe just visit a different continent, maybe go to Europe or maybe go to Africa. Alone in Africa, there are 54 different countries, over 1,400 different languages, and you umbrella termed with black people culture. How disrespectful. Come to Europe. Germany has a completely different culture from Spain or just Switzerland. Everything is different here. You are the guys not having your own culture and, appropriating it. And yes, many of white cultures were in the past forced on other people and all of that crap. No doubt about it. But just oppression within white people. I am Swabian. I am from South Germany. But during Nazi Germany, Hitler decided that the perfect German culture is Bavarian. Therefore, he suppressed all of the different cultures within Germany because Germany is made of 100 different cultures and people, old Germanic people, and he suppressed all of it. That's why all of the world thinks about lederhosen and dirndl when thinking about Germany. You are not the only ones, but you're the only ones constantly crying about it. And I hate it. Just leave your country once and learn a little bit about the rest of the world.
We need to stop saying that white people don't have culture because it actually helps white supremacy, and I'm going to explain. I literally got my anthropology notes out like from 2 years ago to specifically make this video, so stick with me. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, so I'm going to be moving fast. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast for some of you guys. But in anthropology, there are 4 subsections. Those 4 subsections include archaeology, bioanthropology, linguistic anthropology, and social cultural anthropology. Now, the one that we're worried about, specifically with who's deciding what is considered culture, is going to be that social, cultural anthropology, although archaeology has something to do with it, given the fact that they're the ones digging things up. And obviously they're all interconnected, but that's not the point today. And I know that I get in some of my mentions people being like, well, you're just a woke liberal because you got educated. And like, yes, anthropology did drag me very, very far left, very, very fast. However, anthropology as a subject was not always like that. I promise you. It actually has its history in colonialism, and that's very important for what I'm about to explain. Anthropology used to just be the British send an old white dude and be like, hey, teach us about this culture so we can use it against them so we can colonize them faster. Also, we've got the Indiana Jones types of archaeology where they just go to places and then they steal shit. The way that cultural anthropologists do this is specifically called an ethnography. So what that means is that they go to said culture, they sit down and they write. What that used to be is that they sit down and they would write objective facts. But eventually anthropology was like, maybe that's not exactly the best idea. Maybe we should actually explain with our writings our own reflections as we go and include our subjective biases within. You observing someone's culture, you're coming from your own culture, so therefore no one is truly objective. But why? Why would it help white people, and specifically white colonizers, to say that they have no culture? That's because they're trying to pretend to be objective. With objectivity comes authority. So this quote is from Herskovits at the Heart of Blackness. It's a documentary about this guy called Herskovits who helped create African studies in the United States. I think that it really summarizes it very well. Authority didn't have an identity. Authority spoke with the voice of the universe, yet white voices are seen as neutral, as though they have no real identity, making whiteness the center of our universe. This concept was further developed later on when they said, if you're black, you have a stake in racism, in talking about racism, but if you're white, then you can talk about it objectively. That's why we've got to stop saying that white people don't have culture. So one, the idea of white versus black is obviously very useful for racism and white supremacy. But two, it conveniently erases all of the culture of colonialism and just makes it seem more...
White culture exists, but it is not a culture as such. It's a power structure, an ideology. It's white supremacy, the will to power, the desire to be the universal subject, to be default, neutral, to be considered merely human without having to hyphenate or qualify. Now, the problem is, occupying that neutral default position doesn't really lend itself to the sorts of idiosyncrasies and particularities that we associate with culture. Not only that, it leads you to the denial of that sort of specificity. Think of the way that transphobes like to claim that they don't have pronouns. Now, of course, white people have cultures. They have regional, national, linguistic communities that they belong to. But that is very different from saying that they have a white culture. And in fact, those individual cultures do a lot of work to undermine the idea of white culture and white supremacy. Because if you call yourself, for instance, an Irish American, you're weakening your claim to being only American. You've now joined the long list of people with hyphenated identities. And I would add one last point, something else that is missing from that general category of white culture, which is a claim to injury. So the sociologist Wendy Brown, in her book States of Injury, describes how identity categories tend to be formed in response to some sort of harm. A group of people is oppressed, they form a community in response, and then name themselves. And that series of acts, is the formation of a culture. But white culture has never had that experience. We share no common experience of oppression or victimization because of our race, which goes a long way to explaining why it is that we say something provocative like white culture doesn't exist, because it is a very different animal.
Mayonnaise! It's mayonnaise! It is. See, the Duc de Richelieu, he was a French guy. He had a French chef and he invented mayonnaise. You can put mayonnaise and cubed up potatoes and add some raisins and make your raisin potato salad. You can blend some mayonnaise up with raisins, and you can make raisinaise. Is that what you're talking about? I mean, you can't really have a culture based on your skin tone, I suppose. Well, I'm part German. We got Spätzle and little Pfeffernuss cookies. Those are good. But mayonnaise, I think, really is the best answer. Mayonnaise, yeah. And always keep your mayonnaise in the cabinet.
I'm going to try to take this as good faith as I possibly can. So I guess if they say celebrate your white culture, maybe like your European culture, Like, for example, like if your mom or dad or one of them, whoever is white, is English, then you can celebrate your English culture. Or if they're Irish, celebrate your Irish culture. But now, if I was to take it bad faith, maybe they're just like be more American and patriotic, which is not exclusive to white people, but they like to believe that only white people are the proud Americans. That they love this country so much rather than somebody who does not love this country, which are the coloreds. And that is possibly as bad faith I can take it, because the truth is I don't think any like far insane white supremacist would actually be willing to take you on a board just because you're half white. But that's my best guess. I think if they say celebrate your white culture, maybe whatever European side you have in your family lineage. But as far as that goes, I don't know how to interpret that. I've never had that brought up to me. I mean, I could be right or wrong about this, but that is my thought on the matter.
There is no white culture. I mean, most white people do the same things together. That doesn't necessarily mean it's white culture. It just means they have similar cultures. And you want to know why that is? Because color is not culture. A person who lives in France doesn't have the same culture as a person who lives in Russia. They're both white, but that doesn't necessarily mean they belong to the same cultural group. It's the same thing with Africans. My family's from Nigeria, but we have different cultures with other African countries. I guarantee that. The same thing goes for black culture. They may have similar experiences, but they both have different cultural upbringings. In fact, I find it quite racist that some people would put people of the same color into the same cultural group. Just a thought.
Hi. I thought I'd come on here and try to answer your question. I don't know if I'll be able to sufficiently or not, but 61 years old. If there's somebody that should know what white culture is, it should be me. Guess what? We don't have any. Well, we do. It's nothing to be proud of, though. White supremacy. KKK. White superiority. That's white culture. Yeah. That's about it. Sad.
Pretty sure it's stealing other people's cultures and then claiming that we're the ones being oppressed when they ask us to stop. That, and I think boiled cabbage.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? I hope you are doing great. If you are new, my name is Lizzie. So I bring this gist for you guys. I add it together, including the stitch, and bring it here. Please don't forget to leave your opinion down below what you think, and don't forget to subscribe, turn on notification. Anytime I upload, you will be notified. Stay blessed and bye bye.